Have you ever felt it? In the middle of a perfectly normal day, you're laughing with a friend, or focused on your work, or just watching the rain fall outside your window, and then for no reason at all, a quiet hum starts beneath the surface. A subtle shift in the air. It's the ghost of a pain you thought you had buried long ago. A wound you were told time would heal. We are all given a story from the moment we are born. It's a simple story, and a comforting one. It says that when you get hurt, you heal. A cut on your knee scabs over and disappears. A broken bone mends, becoming even stronger at the break. And a broken heart, they say, will eventually mend too. We're taught to believe that healing is a straight line. It's a journey from brokenness back to wholeness, a process of erasing the damage until it's like it never even happened. You're supposed to come out the other side, waving a victory flag, showing off a clean, faint scar as proof of your strength. A battle won, a chapter closed. But what happens when the chapter refuses to close? What happens when the wound doesn't turn into a neat, silvery scar? What happens when years later it still feels raw? You do everything you're supposed to do. You talk about it. You write about it. You sit with the pain. You dissect it. You try to understand it from every angle. You give it time. So much time. You build a new life around the gaping hole it left, hoping the new construction will eventually cover it up. And yet, there are days when a certain song, a particular smell, or a simple turn of phrase from a stranger can send you right back to day one. The pain is just as sharp, just as breathtakingly real as it was in the beginning. And in that moment, a new kind of pain begins to grow on top of the old one. Shame. You start to believe you are failing. Failing at healing. Failing at being strong. You see others who seem to have moved on from their own tragedies, and you wonder what's wrong with you. Why are you stuck? Why can't you just get over it, like everyone tells you to? This silent exhaustion becomes your constant companion. The immense effort of pretending to be whole when you feel fundamentally fractured. The pressure to present a healed self to the world is sometimes heavier than the original wound itself. It's like trying to hold a shattered mirror together with your bare hands, smiling while the sharp edges dig into your skin, pretending it can still show a perfect reflection. You become an actor in your own life, playing the part of the person who has moved on. But here's where we misunderstand the very architecture of our own reality. We think of ourselves as solid objects that can be broken and then repaired. But we are not objects. We are living, breathing landscapes. And some events are not like stones that you can simply pick up and throw away. Some events are like earthquakes. They don't just leave a mark on the landscape. They permanently change its geography. They create canyons where there were once plains. They push up mountains where there was once flat ground. You can't heal a canyon. You can't get over a mountain. They are simply there now. They have become part of the terrain. To demand that the canyon fill itself in is to demand the impossible. To feel shame that the mountain is still standing is to misunderstand what it is. The patterns of our lives are woven from experience. Every joy, every connection, every moment of insight adds a thread to the tapestry. But so does every loss. So does every trauma. Some threads aren't just coloured differently. They are made of a different material entirely. They have a different weight, a different texture. They change the way the entire tapestry hangs. They are not mistakes in the design. They become a central part of the design itself. We spend so much energy trying to pull these threads out, trying to reweave our past into something more palatable, something that fits the simple story of linear healing we were told. We fight against the new shape of our own inner world, convinced that the old one was the only correct version. And this brings us to the most important question you might ever ask yourself about your own pain. What if the goal isn't to erase the wound? What if the relentless pressure to become the person you were before the wound is the actual source of your suffering? Think about it. The original pain is a fact. It happened. It is as real as the ground beneath your feet. But the suffering, the shame, the feeling of failure, that comes from the story. The story that says this wound should be gone by now. What if some experiences are so profound, so fundamental, that they are not meant to be healed in the traditional sense? What if they are meant to be carried? What if they are meant to be integrated, to become a part of who you are now, not as a mark of brokenness, but as a source of unimaginable depth and perspective? Perhaps the point isn't to find your way back to the old sunlit path. Perhaps the point is to learn how to navigate the new landscape you find yourself in. Canyons, mountains, and all. Perhaps true healing isn't the absence of the wound, but the absence of the fight against it. A quiet acceptance of the ground you now stand on. By the way, our shared space of light and awareness is on its way to 100,000 people. Thank you to everyone who subscribes and brings this moment closer. This shift in understanding changes everything. It is the moment you stop trying to drain the ocean and instead learn how to build a boat. For years, all of your energy, your focus, your very life force has been directed at one impossible task: making the wound go away. It's like being in a constant low-grade war with a part of yourself. You wake up every morning, put on your armour, and go into battle against your own memory, against your own pain. It is exhausting. It is a fight you can never win, because you are fighting a piece of your own history. The real transformation begins with a ceasefire. Not a surrender, but a ceasefire. You lay down your weapons. You stop struggling. You simply allow the wound to be there, without judgment, without the desperate need for it to be different. And in the silence that follows, something incredible happens. All the energy you were pouring into that endless fight is suddenly returned to you. It flows back into your life, like a river returning to its dry bed. Suddenly, you have the energy to notice the colour of the sky again. You have the capacity to truly taste your morning coffee. You have the space in your heart to listen, really listen when a friend is talking. The pain might still be there, a quiet ache in the background, but it is no longer the screaming tyrant of your inner world. It is simply a presence. And you, for the first time in a long time, are free to live alongside it, rather than in service to it. This is the great paradox. The moment you stop trying to heal the wound is the moment true healing can begin. Not a healing that erases, but a healing that integrates. It's like living in a beautiful house that has one room that is always cold. For years, you've tried everything to fix it. You've sealed the windows, you've brought in heaters, you've called every expert you can find. You've spent a fortune and a lifetime of frustration trying to make that one room as warm as the others. Your obsession with the cold room has kept you from enjoying the rest of your house. Then one day you stop. You accept it. This room is just cold, and you begin to relate to it differently. You don't try to live in it. You don't try to pretend it's a cozy bedroom. Instead, you turn it into a pantry, a place to store things that are best kept cool. You find a new use for it that honours its nature instead of fighting it. The coldness is no longer a flaw, it's a feature. And strangely, you find a unique kind of beauty in it. On a hot summer day, you might step into that room for a moment of relief. You come to appreciate its stillness, its quiet integrity. The rest of the house even feels warmer and more inviting in contrast. Your unhealed wound is like this cold room. When you stop fighting its nature, you can discover its purpose. It becomes a source of depth, a point of contrast that makes the warmth of joy and connection feel that much more profound. It is the part of you that keeps you honest. It is the part of you that remembers the fragility of things. It is the source of your compassion, because you recognise the echo of that cold room in others. This process changes you fundamentally. You don't become a survivor in the way our culture celebrates it, as someone who has heroically conquered their past and left it behind. That's just another story of conflict and erasure. Instead, you become something quieter, something more real. You become a person who carries their past with them, not as a burden that weighs them down, but as an inseparable part of their own landscape. The canyon that was carved into you doesn't disappear. Instead, you learn where the safe paths are. You discover the unique plants that only grow on its steep walls. You learn to listen to the echo it creates. This is a different kind of strength. It isn't the brittle strength of someone who pretends to be unbreakable. It is the flexible, enduring strength of someone who knows they are already broken, in a way, and has chosen to live fully anyway. You start to see the hidden architecture of reality with new eyes. You see the connections you never saw before. You understand that everyone is carrying their own invisible wounds, navigating their own altered landscapes. You lose your taste for shallow conversations and easy judgments. The wound becomes your anchor to what is real. It makes you incredibly present. It teaches you to cherish the small, fleeting moments of peace and happiness, because you know how precious they are. You are not the person you were before, and you are not the person you were trying to be. You are someone entirely new, someone deeper, quieter, and more attuned to the truth of things. Your wound will not heal, and in accepting that, you have finally, truly become whole. If this video changed something in you, write in the comments, "I am still walking." Write it as your promise. Nobody